Great. Right, I'm going to do the awkward transition now where I not only have to turn my screen sharing on, which I can do with a press of a button, and everything goes weird. Let's do it over there. I'm also going to move my microphone, which involves me turning it off and turning it back on. And that was pretty smooth, I think. So I'm going to have a little look. We're going to start in After Effects, but we're going to be moving around a few of the applications. I'm going to be, dropping into Premiere. I'll even be dropping into to Fusion at some point as well, very very briefly, just to go through that. Well, let's start then, because you've hung a lamp on it. Let's start with the concept of a secret source and why I go back to this. Obviously, for Americans, the idea of a secret source is very, very known. But for people on my side of the water, it usually sort of refers to like a burger restaurant that has their own sort of special burger sauce that makes it so very different from the burger place that's next door. But basically, what it boils down to is, guess what a burger place has lots of? Ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, pickles, and guess what the secret sauce is made out of? Ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, pickles. So the idea is that by mixing simple things together, we can sort of get something very unique and marketable. You can sell your secret sauce. So that is the start of my laboured metaphor, which we are going to be using throughout the next 50 minutes. Because basically it breaks down to the fact that Sapphire has, let's select a layer here. Sapphire has, over 270 different filters in it. And most people, as we've said before in other sessions, they only use a fraction of those. But in my own projects, let's actually pause over a Sapphire one. It's got loads of things. Yeah, in my own projects, I would, generally sort of fall back to, using a sort of select few and using those time and time again to finish, I'd say pretty much every project. Clients would respond well to the results. So, if they're happy, I'm happy. So I just keep using them. But then something changed. A few versions back, Sapphire introduced the builder. I can't remember when it was introduced, but it was a little while ago now. And if you're not familiar with using the builder, then you're probably missing out on the single most powerful feature in Sapphire. Because Builder is a way of creating your own custom effects. Not custom presets, but custom effects. So with Builder, I had a way of combining those 5 filters that I'd always use into one just giant effect. And I could also, choose to only show the cool stuff, the parameters that I knew I was going to be adjusting. So essentially, what I created was a cheat code to getting stuff done faster, and and get through more projects in a week. So that's what we're going to be looking at in this session. We're going to be looking at 3 of my secret sauce recipes and how to mix and spice them to make your own secret sauce. All right, let's have a look at some stuff. There's enough of me gabbing. Let's look at some stuff. So this is our after, and this is our before shot. I'm doing it backwards because I forgot to turn off the effect. So this is our before shot. So pretty much everything is finished here. The grade looks fine. Everything's done. I don't really need to do a lot with it. And yet it's still not quite finished. It still needs that little twist. And this is what it looks like with the effect on it. There we go. So it's just given us a little bit more of a twist in there. And I'm going to show you what this is doing, because this is just broken down into one effect that is doing that. And you look at that and you go, oh, okay, well, I recognize these names, but I don't know what they're doing. So let's see the mystery of what's going on inside S Effect. I'm going to break it down into, I'm going to start up a new shot. I'm going to come into my effect. I'm going to come down into Builder, and I'm going to go to S Effect. And when I put this on, it does nothing. And the reason for that is that S Effect is a blank slate when we first put it on. We have presets, like all of the effects. We have presets to have a little look at. And if we open up the preset browser, we've got something a little bit different here. We can see individual effect presets. So we can go in to individual effects. Let's get rid of the bandpass. Or we can go into Builder effects. Aha. So this seems to be doing something. So what Builder effects are doing is it's a way of stacking together multiple, oh, the help if I didn't move out the screen. Yeah, it's a way of building up multiple different effects all into one layer, all into one effect. And we have different things. We have ones that are going to be affecting the image overall. So something like this 8-bit maze, which our lovely Alan Lawrence has created, creating a stylized maze game look. Look at that. There we go. I can even play back just in the builder to see if that's going to be an effect I like. We've also got ones that are going to be for motion backgrounds, and we're going to look at all of that later. But I don't want to start with a preset. This is one where I'm much happier to come in. I'm going to click Edit Effect and start with a blank slate. So this is Builder. We have the viewer up at the top. We have a little sort of miniature node tree down in the bottom. So anyone who's worked with anything to do with nodes before is going to be pretty familiar with this. If you worked with, something big like Nuke or Flame, obviously you're going to understand what's going on with this. But even if you've worked with the color room inside of Resolve, then you're going to be a bit more familiar about what nodes are going to be. It's a way of getting from our source down into our result and bringing some other effect in the middle of them. So this is essentially what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be chaining together multiple effects to create the end look that I want. And the first look I'm going to do, or the first thing I'm going to do, is actually I'm going to add a wee bit of sharpness. This particular shot might not need a little bit of sharpness, but on some shots for finishing, I'm probably going to need just a wee bit, just a little shiver of sharpening. That's a phrase you never hear before, a shiver of sharpening. So going after my sharpening, the next thing that I need is a like film effect. Film effect is probably one of the most used of the Sapphire effects. If I plunk film effect over the top here, I'll open up my selection parameters. We'll have a little look at these later, but this is where we can start to change stuff up. So we've got different negative films, got different print films we can have a little look at in a little moment. Another effect that I use all the time on pretty much every single one of my shots is a bit of diffusion. Usually I will be going with the classic Sapphire Glow. Everyone loves a Sapphire Glow. Let's bring us on that there. Nice. So I'm just chaining these together, and you can see sort of the effect that they're doing. Down the bottom left, I've got preview selected node turned on. So that means I can click any of these nodes and see what the result is going to be anywhere down on this tree. Of course, got a little bit of sharpening, a little bit of film effect, a little bit of glow diffusion there. The next one I'm going to add, probably the last one I'm going to add, I think for now, is going to be my glow darks. And let's just bring that in there. And glow darks is an interesting one, because whereas glow kind of diffuses out the highlights, glow darks comes in and starts to diffuse out the darker elements here. And this looks, pretty heavy. The default values for a lot of these effects are pretty heavy, because they're designed to, show you that an effect has been put on. If this was too subtle, you wouldn't know that you'd actually put an effect on, and you'd go, is it on yet? But what we can do with all of these effects is still come in and load presets within Builder. So if I hit load presets, I've still got all of the presets that I'd usually have associated with this effect. And I've got one that's Angie Taylor's preset, which is the one that is probably my go-to for glow darks, which is the film glow. So this is a subtle dark glow is added to dark areas. It's so wide, it's as soft as butter. Lovely. Angie always gave the best descriptions to her presets. So we've now got my elements that I'm gonna be using. So let's break these down a little bit and get it so it's looking, well, not like a big mess. That's where we're starting. That's where we're going to. The end result is a big mess. I wouldn't ever use this end result as it is. Okay, but with the preview selected node, I can come into my sharpen, and it's now giving me just this this sharpness here. Now, sharpening is it's an interesting effect, because it's one that you have to be very, very subtle with, and I mean very, very subtle with. And I always say you cannot judge what sharpening is really doing. If you're taking this out to broadcast, you can never judge what the image is going to look like just on a computer monitor. You need to see this on an external screen. I have almost been caught, and I've seen many people be caught, where they've over sharpened something and it's gone out on air and it looks not good. So even in the builder, because we don't have like the regular sort of connection to the broadcast monitor that you get through your host, the builder actually has its built-in connection to a reference monitor. So if you've got the hardware to be able to take out to a reference monitor, you'll see it down in this view here. So I can take this out and be looking at this on my monitor over on my right hand side, and it's at this point where I can actually judge whether this is the effect that I want. I'm going to take my sharpen amplitude, I'm going to take it all the way down to 0. I don't want it on this one. And then come into my film effect. Okay, as soon as I click on this, because I've got preview selected node turned on, it's going to now take a look at this one. So I can come in, I can change what type of film stock that I have, it's simulations film stock. So we've got simulated negative film and simulated print film. So what we shot on and what we're printing to. Or print, yeah, there we go. We'll leave it at that. I was going to actually take us into a better, more a better description, more accurate description, but actually I don't need to do that. It makes your image look like film. That's the sort of biggest takeaway you got. Then we've got things like scale CC. This is almost always way too big an effect for what I want. So with the scale CC, I can just bring this in and just put that in there. It's like, I don't know, chopping up pickles and putting them into my secret sauce. Are you happy with that metaphor?
I mean, just stop it. Just stop it. Horribly offended by sauce on any type of burgers, so you lost me. You lost me at the intro.
I'm going to come in. I'm going to just change the input gamma and the output gamma as well. I'm happy with that. Negative exposure. Actually, I'm going to reset these. Let's just come in here. What was that? 2.2. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. I might just do, negative exposure and print exposure. Yeah, those are going to be the ones I want to be playing with. There we go. Get that looking around about there. Grain. Oh, sorry, we've got glow first. Glow is, we've got a built-in glow to our film effect. Well, that's great, except for one thing. We've already got glow coming up down there. So the glow in the film effect is doing pretty much the same job, but I've got more control over the glow in my separate glow here. So I'm going to keep my glow brightness set down to 0 and, soft focus set down to 0. So we don't have to worry about that. Grain and vignette we're going to come back to. So we're starting to get somewhere. Talking about glow, let's tweak this up someplace how I like it. I'm going to come in. I'm going to turn the brightness all the way up. This is my trick for dealing with glow. I turn my brightness all the way up past where you would possibly ever want it, because then I can come into my threshold and actually see where it is I want to keep my threshold. And once the threshold is down there in the right spot, about 8.3, I can then bring the glow brightness down to where I actually want it. And the glow width, we can sort of diffuse that out a little bit more, but I'm kind of happy with where that's going. Glow darks. All right, we've got the preset already loaded in there. All I'm going to do is take the glow. Actually, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to take the darkness down a little bit, quite a bit, and this glow saturation is turned all the way up. This kind of really changes what the glow looks like. So I'm going to take the glow saturation down to around about 1.5. Everything else I'm just going to leave as it is. So let's just zoom that to fit. So there we go. I've got my 4 effects in Builder. I'm going to hit OK. Let's see what happens when we take this back out into After Effects. Whee! Look at that. It's done everything I asked it to. Because of course it has. I asked it to do it and it did it. And let's have a look at the effects controls. So now the effects controls have all of the filters that we had put in there, all in one big long list. Cool. Well, sort of cool. As I was going down and actually, tweaking these up, most of the things didn't need any tweaking. So if they didn't need any tweaking when I was creating it, most of the time they're not going to need a lot of tweaking when I'm back in the host. So I'm going to come into my edit effect. I'm come in here. I'm going to choose my sharpen. I'm going to turn off preview selected node, so we're always going to see the result now. I'm going to come into sharpen. And if you notice on the top right hand corner, we have a little checkbox here, and we have checkboxes against every single parameter. If I turn all that off at the top, all of the checkboxes on the parameters get turned off as well. So I'm just going to select the parameters that I was interested in. So with film effect, I can use scale CC, negative exposure, print exposure. We will do grain amplitude and vignette darkness as well. Into glow, everything turned off except for brightness, threshold, glow width. Into glow darks, everything turned off except for darkness and maybe glow saturation. We'll keep that one there. Cool. I'm happy with that. Not going to touch anything else. Hit OK. We come back into After Effects now. If we look at our effect controls over on the left hand side, we can see that we only have those parameters exposed that are going to be interesting to us. So now if I wanted to, maybe add a bit of vignette to this, I can just come in, I'll add a huge, great big vignette so everyone can see it on the stream. Or we can take this down to a little bit more of a subtle effect there. Grain, amplitude, take that all the way up. I think that's a bit visible. Might be a little bit too strong. I'll put that down to 1.2. Now, this is going to be my template. So I can, let's just copy this and have a look how it looks on a different clip. Let's come over, where should we have a look? Any one of these. Let's go to my red set. Let's get rid of the effect that's already there, bye-bye effect. And I'll just paste that back over. Paste. And now I've got that same builder effect that I can use to change this up. So it wasn't quite right when I brought it over. It's getting a little bit too dark. So if it's getting a little bit too dark, I can start to tweak up the things that are making it a bit too dark. So I'll come in, I can adjust the print exposure a wee bit there. I can change my neg exposure up as well. Let's just come in and just twiddle that into half res to get us a little bit faster. And I can come into my glows, do exactly the same as I did before, whack the glow all the way up so I can see what it's doing, change the threshold so it's only working on the lamp there, take my brightness down, and maybe now whack the glow width back up. Take my glow darks all the way down because I don't want them, but maybe I do want the sharpness. There we go. And now just using that little preset, I can come in and tweak, what's this, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different parameters and have like the best bits of 4 different effects working for me. So that's how I would use or start to use the builder to do this. And I can save that out as a preset. I can open up the preset browser. I was going to wait for that, but it's actually on the other screen. I can give it a name. I can, tell who wrote it and give a nice little description and characteristics. And I can either save that locally or export that out to a file for other people to use as well. Cool. I'm going to show you how we can use this in different places, but are there any questions so far?
Hey, Ben. Just to point out to everybody, someone actually asked, are we live? Oh, we're definitely live, my friends. We're definitely live.
Oh yes, we're live.
So I think the biggest question that's bubbling up, and I'll let you take this because you know that I've answered this plenty in the past before, but like I guess people are wondering at a high level, what's the big difference between stacking effects in AE or using an adjustment layer versus what you're showing with a builder? What would be your big advantage? And I know you've kind of shown it, but maybe just summarize like why you would use builder versus just adding glow plus digital damage plus vignette, etc.
Well, there are two big reasons. The first is time. I am very consistent with this stage of the effect. So if I know that I'm always going to be finishing off my shots with something that is similar to this, then instead of going to each individual effect, bringing that down, boom, okay, that's good, next one, boom, adjusting it, next one, boom, adjusting it, and then loading in the presets that I've already got, already that's what, at least 16 clicks plus all the time that it takes to sort of go in and find the right preset. With the builder, I add the builder, I load one preset, I find my preset, and it's there. So that's one reason. The other reason is this bad boy here is that I've hidden, or I've actually made up, all of these into a decent starting place, so that all I have to do now is just tweak the parameters that are interesting to me. So that's another huge time saving. The third thing is, if I come into Premiere, I've got an adjustment layer over some random nonsense. Sorry, over a carefully edited sequence. And I can just come in here, just go S Effect, drag that over an adjustment layer, load up a preset, go into Builder Effect. I'm going to type in Ben, because we can search on author as well. So we've got some of the stuff that I've written here. Is it, if I put it in here? No, let's put it under, I think I called it, oh no, I did call it, it's there, it's right there. Come on, Ben, you're blind. There we go. Ben's generic film finish. High pass sharpening leading into film effect, glow and glow darks. Notes, blur increases sharpness. Change fill stop type in Builder. So I hit load on that. This is slightly different than the one I just built, but generally it's the same. So I can then come in here, and these presets are cross-host compatible. So I can't use an After Effects animation preset in Premiere. Likewise, I can't just copy and paste stuff from Premiere into After Effects. So we've got all of this now across the entire shot. I've no idea what I tweaked up on that, but I definitely tweaked something.
No, it's a great answer, Ben.
Let's bring
it's a great answer. Like, I think you nailed it. There's, I always say it's like a couple different ways that people use Builder, but I think once you kind of wrap your head around it, right? I always do the cheesy line that Builder is like the Uber Sapphire plugin. I mean, it's literally one effect to rule them all, because it can become any plugin you want. So I use Builder a lot because obviously, just like you, I'm a huge Sapphire Glow Darks fan. I use Glow Darks like crazy for a quick treatment, but I don't really like the starting parameters, so all I do is just literally load Glow Dark, single plugin into Builder, change the parameters, turn off a bunch, and I save that as like Brian's Glow Dark, and now I'm good to go. I've just created a new Sapphire plugin, and that's like the most basic use. But then there's like what you and Alan do with Builder, which is true madness, right? Like true madness in terms of creating like fully animating motion graphics effects, and everything is cross-platform. So, taking an effect from After Effects, opening it up in Resolve, taking something from Flame, opening up in Avid, it really is amazing. Like, once you kind of get into Builder, I say it all the time, it's really tough to go back to using single plugins.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, here I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to come into Fusion. I'm going to type in Ben in Builder Effects. Builder Effects, thank you. Type in Ben. And generic film finish pops in here. And have a look at that. We're there. It's around. I can do all the things that I wanted to do just with a very few little clicks. It's, if this isn't cool, then I don't know what the kids like anymore, because this is cool.
It really is fun. We tell people all the time, like, in theory, I could delete all your Sapphire effects and just give you S Effect. Now, of course, I wouldn't do that because we'd hear screams and cries from Avid suites all across the country. But I could do that. Like, we could do that, and you could work the same exact way, because Builder literally is all of Sapphire jammed into one effect, one plugin with.
Yeah.
Alan, how many params do we have in there? Good God.
I have no idea.
Total param, isn't it, like in the thousands? I think.
It's 1,500 at least.
Yeah, it really is cool that it can really just become anything. All right, sorry to hijack your amazing presentation.
No, that's good. I mean, literally, like, the only effects that you don't have in Builder are the time effects.
Sure.
and you've got flicker if you want flicker, but some of the time effects that need different frames you don't have, but pretty much anything else, like the stuff you're going to be doing day in day out, you've got like directly here, directly within Builder, and it's very. I don't want to like sort of downplay by saying, oh yeah, no, this is very handy, it's very useful, but no, it's unbelievably handy. It's unbelievably useful.
And then there are also, Ben, there's also things you can do in Builder that you couldn't do with just a stack of effects because of the node-based aspect of it. If you're taking outputs of one node and as the mask input of another node and things like that, things that are just not exposed at the host level.
Well, this leads me. No, you're right, Alan. Sorry, I broke in.
Show me.
I was going to say this leads me into here. This is secret source number 2. Text. Can I call it? I called it secret source number 2. I didn't call it recipe number 2. I called it secret source. That's fine. It fits with the conceit of the entire presentation. All right. Text. I like text. Text is good. No, it's like this. The idea behind this is that, like, what I want in my Builder preset. See, that's not as fun. My secret source for text isn't to be like a replacement for when I actually need to do like proper text design. But like most of the time, I don't need to do like a huge amount of text design. I just want to stop my white text from being like really boring and dull. So, I mean, this is like a little recipe that lets me like add some fun stuff to text that I would do all the time. So it's things like color, shading, fake 3D. If I don't need to go into a 3D app just to fake a little bit of 3D, then I'm not going to. Texture, I might want a bit of edge grunging on there as well, but depending on the time, we might not be able to see that. So I'm just going to come into Builder here. Here we go. Let's just zoom out a wee bit. I want to show you something that's going to be important later. I'm going to show you the checkerboard. So this is our source with alpha. So we've got the text coming in with alpha. We've also got the text coming in this wee little box there. That's going to be important. Wait 10 minutes. But for now, I'm going to turn off my checkerboard. Okay, let's bring this up here. So the first thing I want with this is a way to, like a really, really quick way to give this, and there's probably no quicker way than just using a tint. And so I'm just going to add a tint on here, and I can tint my lights, the light colors, and that, look at that. That can be any color I want. Look at that, beautiful. It's going to be, what should we do? Oh no, we are live. Look at that. It's going to be this pink color. Cool. And I'm going to turn off parameters as I'm going, because we don't need to do the big reveal anymore. We've seen that. So all I'm going to change in this one is tint lights. The next one I'm going to do is add a little bit of shading, and we could be, clever about it and, do a lot of interesting stuff with it. I'm not going to be clever. I don't think we need to be clever all the time. I think we can be just very simple and straightforward. I'm just going to add a gradient. Going to bump gradient onto here. I'm going to set my gradient to overlay. And look at this. We're going to keep the black and white. And all I'm going to do is, all I'm interested in is changing where the gradient starts and finishes. That just gives me a little bit of a gradient on my text. Everything else can go away. Boom, boom. Easy. I maybe want to put in a bit of brightness there, but we'll come to that later. So the next thing we got is giving a sort of fake 3D kind of thing. I don't need to have like proper real 3D. I don't need to be running around it. I just need to give it a little bit of depth, and I'm going to do that with one of the emboss filters. I could do it with just like a straight emboss. Straight emboss, you know, does the job. Kind of doing all of that sort of stuff, you know. Straight emboss, yeah, everyone loves it. Let's undo that a couple of times. I want stuff for being a little bit shinier, so I'm going to use emboss shiny. And this one here, the important ones are going to be light direction. Actually, probably quite a few of these are going to be important. Bump smooth is going to be important. Highlight brightness is going to be important. I think everything else, well, maybe brightness, we'll bring that in there as well. So this is cool. So we're starting off with our white text, adding a bit of tint, adding a bit of tint, adding a bit of gradient, adding a bit of emboss shiny. And the next thing, actually probably the last thing before we take this back out, is adding a little bit of texture. So let's have a think. Well, actually, let's go down here. All right, let's go to render. You know, we have quite a lot of textury type of things we can put over the top of it. But actually probably grunge is going to be the one that I'm after. Just I want to sort of mess this up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Cool, so we got grunge. And grunge, well, let's load a preset for grunge, because I'm you know, this is quite a cool little grungy look, but not quite the look I want. I want something a little bit more kind of, you know, crackly, a little bit kind of just, yeah, as if the text is getting old. So we have, I mean, we've got Cracked Canvas by someone called Alan Lawrence. I mean, that's quite nice. But we've also got actually just Cracked by someone called Brian Fox. So adding glassy cracks.
Should load that one in. Skip that one. That one's no good. That one's no good. Just skip it.
So we've got something here. Let me just cough 1 second. Look at that smooth mic control. The cough is gone.
We have John watching in Australia, so there's triple pressure, Ben.
Oh,
triple pressure.
Oh, now the eyes are on. So here we go. We got the grunge here. I'm going to turn everything off on my grunge, and like to begin with, I just probably want just the stamp density, and I want the stamp opacity. So I want to be able to knock that back quite easily. And I think that'll do. I think there's a lot of other stuff we can do with this, but I think that'll do. Now, the big problem I've got here is that if we let's take a look at our checkerboard. Ooh, look at that. So we've got stuff going outside of our alpha at the moment, just because of the way that it's built. So one of the things that we can do is we've got different inputs into these. So like with Emboss Shiny, I've got a matte input and a bumps input, so I can have something else creating the bumps on my shiny emboss. But all of these nodes have a matte input. So I can take something from further down the line, so something like the builder source, pipe that into the matte input, pipe it in there, there we go. And if I come down here now, take a little look at my matte. My matte uses the Luma. Very nice. Let's show the checkerboard so it's a bit more visible. And I can then crop my grunge to the matte. And that will then get rid of all of that grunge. See, let's zoom in a wee bit. So with that turned off, you can see the grunge going all over the element there. Cropping my grunge to the matte keeps it within inside the text. And this is, yeah, me being able to pipe in a source that's not like the source that happens after all of these effects are processed out, it's the source right at the very top. So, or we could take in an external source as well and just have that piped in and do stuff to that mask and have that piped in. So this is the reason why having something in a sort of node editor is actually really important and really useful to have. So if I come back in here now, click on OK, it'll have a little think. There we go. And I can come in now and choose a different color. I've got my controls to be able to play around with the gradient here. Just change up that gradient a little bit. It's kind of fun. And I think this one is the my light direction for the shiny emboss. Whee, so I'm bringing that around. And I've still got, just close up Mocha, I've got all of these controls still, just in a very, very few limited little parameters. I can now do a ton of stuff with my text to make it a little bit more fun, or if I don't want it so embossed, I can just take that down. We've got just flat text with a texture. It's just so cool just being able to play around with this. And I know John is watching me and he hates it when people say it's so cool, but this is like sitting in a fridge. That's how cool it is.
Really cool example, Ben.
Thanks.
And lots of love from the chat. Rob and Focus really enjoying the text example. And really good to point out that once you've built that, that's yours, right? That's your effect, and you can reuse that and you're good to go.
Like, and this one here, I've got another text example here. I mean, this is again more of my nonsense at the moment. So what I've got done in here, if I edit that effect, this is something that it's doing quite a lot of things. Zoom in. It's doing polar stuff. It's doing loads of stuff. We've got things kind of in there going to different mats. I've even got some notes that I've written. You can have stick a sticky note in there to remind you what it is you've actually done. Hit OK on that. And then if I think that's not, this effect is meant to be sort of like some liquid metal kind of stuff sort of going around, and it kind of doesn't quite work with this particular piece of footage. But if I bring it in, let's find something else that's a little bit more suitable. Oh, I don't even know anymore. Let's just take this one. And then I'll just replace both of those there. That will still give that same kind of big metallic little looking effect on your text. And I've saved that. Some of the footage it works well on. Some of the footage it doesn't work quite as well on. But the fact that we've got it here, and we can still come in and I don't know, maybe tweak the gamma down a wee bit, scale the lights up, just make it work with that footage. That really is the power of having everything just in one place, and just cooking down like this big set of effects into just like the real kind of basics that you need it to, or like the essentials that you need it to do. And I think that's what makes it interesting for me. That's why I use Builder in a ton of my work. Do we have any other questions before I move on to the last example?
There is one question that seems to be coming up about Builder in general, and that's render speed, and I think I can address that a little bit. The question, I guess, is if you stack up all these effects, or then you do it in Builder, is there any sort of performance advantage to doing that? And I think the answer is, in theory, there certainly is, and I think in practice you'll see that there is as well. And the reason is, if you put 5 different effects on a layer, even if they are all Sapphire effects, After Effects or whatever your host is treats them independently. So the effect needs to grab the footage, it needs to do its work, it needs to pass back the result, and then it goes down the line to the next effect, grabs that result, does its work, passes it back, and so forth, and so on and so forth down the line. So in Builder, it's just a single effect. So even though it's multiple effects internally, that overhead of dealing with the host and getting the footage and passing back the results, whatever, on a more technical level, it's only happening once. And so you've got that overhead of is gone. And so all of the effect processing is going to be faster. I don't know practically what that means. Does it mean it's twice as fast? I would be surprised if it's twice as fast, but it's certainly going to make a difference. It's definitely going to be faster than putting all those things independently.
I think it's also going to depend on what type of effects you've got stacked on, how much your speed is going to improve as well. I know one of the things that designing stuff in Builder makes me do is it makes me aware of the parameters I don't need to have turned on. I don't need to have things like atmosphere turned on in every single instance of every single one of my effects. So just by having those turned off and maybe having it just at the on the crucial ones at the end of the line, I've definitely going to save myself a bit of processing time there. It just there's also, as well as a raw effect practicality of faster render speeds, there's that soft human element as well that it makes you more aware of what you're doing.
Another question from the chat, Ben. I think a lot of people are digging your presentation. To borrow Marion Ross's term, I think a lot of people are kind of grokking Builder, and how it can save time and really open up possibilities. Some questions about like the keyframing. Can you keyframe in there? Does the animation save with a preset? Like how does that work in terms of animating a Builder effect?
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting point. There's a couple of ways of doing keyframing. Like one of the ways is doing it in your kind of traditional sort of like boom, 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 keyframe this from here to here. Those types of keyframes, the ones we do in the host, aren't going to save within the preset. There's another way of doing keyframing though. I'm going to come into my effect. And let's see. Let's find something that's actually going to work on. Okay, yeah, here. So the other way of doing keyframing is actually within Builder itself. And I've just come to something we can see instantly, which is like the stamp opacity. And we have different ways of coming in and animating this. So we can take this. At the moment, we've got a static value, a constant value going all the way through. We can have a value going from 0 up to our value over time. So if we play this back, we can sort of just scrub this back. You can see it going from 0 opacity all the way up. And let's actually make this really gross and disgusting. So you can see that building on. We can also take it the other way, so we can have it building on and then fading off. All going up from 0 up to a point, la la la. You get the gist of it. Or coming down from 1 and then going back up again. Let's have it going up here. We can also set how that works, so we don't have to have it going all the way the length of the clip. We can make it so that it actually comes in and ends like halfway through. Come over here, boy. There we go. And we can change like things like easing as well. So we can like do a slow ease, and a slow out, and we can even change the start time as well. This is absolutely crucial when you're doing like complex transitions with lots of stuff coming in and coming out at different times. But just by doing it here, we can then animate or create a little animation curve going up, and those will save with the preset, and they will scale with the length of the clip that you put the preset onto, or you put the builder effect onto. This is absolutely crucial for doing things like transitions as well. But it's also cool for fading stuff on and off, or doing, like, we've got animated mats as well. You can do. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. And
have I missed anything?
I would be remiss not to show a builder effect you built right now, the Boris FX Live background.
Oh yes.
Yes,
this is a, well, actually we're gonna look at something with motion backgrounds in just a moment. But yes, this was a this is a classic Lazy Ben trick.
Lazy Ben is better than most, so I'll take it. But that's great. All right, I'll go.
If we
back
look at the motion backgrounds, and I've got like two minutes. John, you're gonna have to wait. We're gonna be late 2 minutes. Sorry, mate.
John is with us. John's with us. John, say hello.
Oh, John. Hello, John.
Maybe not. I'll work on that. There we go. John, try now. There you go, John. Say hello. Maybe not. Forget it. I'll just be quiet.
No. There we go. He's not meant to be on until 3 more minutes, so he's not going to be at the mic until 3 more minutes. You know, John. Come on. He's there. He's very prompt. I'm gonna just come in. I've got a black background. It's doing nothing. I'm applying it. This is an effect that I have. This is based off of an effect that I used quite a bit. And this is my lazy motion background effect. All this is, it's an infinite zoom. It's a defocus prism. It's a vignette. It's a couple of glows. It's a shape coming into the infinite zoom. What's it doing? Absolutely nothing. And the reason is because we need to feed it a source. And we can feed this a source within, like directly within Builder. So to prove we're live, Alan, give me your favorite render plugin. Maybe one of the textures, who knows?
Oh, that's put me on the spot.
I know. And they're all too good.
They are.
Plasma.
There we go. Plasma.
I was going to say Aurora, but that's all right.
Oh gosh. There we go. So this is what Plasma looks like.
I mean, this was the way I did 3D metal type for many years. Right? Like...
You will, yes. You will also see this exact thing or this exact preset, or the default settings, I should say, on far too many of my older projects. Lazy Ben used to be amazingly lazy. He's gotten less lazy over time, but he used to be amazingly lazy. Yeah, I'm just going to come in. I'm going to take some of these down because take my brightness down, for example, because this feeds through. And I come into glow. Like glow is just going to blow everything out because the threshold is set far too low. There we go. So we just bring that in there. But the cool thing about this, oh mate, there we go. Let's bring this down.
Oh no, Ben's free.
There we go. I can tell John is itching to get in because he's just scratching at my left ear now.
Did you hear me testing audio?
I did.
That's,
John, say hello.
So
one of the first rules of presenting is don't freestyle.
we broke that a long time ago.
we absolutely broke this ages ago. So the thing that happens with this one is that it's not really doing what we want it to do. It's kind of just sat there. It's sort of doing something, but it's not doing what we want it to do. So, and this basically comes down to what we were talking about just a second ago, is that we can't save a lot of keyframes with Builder. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come into my shrink per level, do time +1, just so it has a bit of a start, and then I'll just do time on the zoom. Maybe that is so basically we're just, you know, coming in, and maybe I'll make the zoom a little bit bigger to start with as well.
Love it.
So basically what we're doing is we're just coming in and you know, freaking out with some stuff, and we can, you know, change this into anything. So if I come over into my project, I've got that exact same look on this one here, same preset, doing the same thing, zooming through. I've got it on this one here.
Oh, so cool.
Zooming through. It's exactly the same. I've got it on real text as well. Sorry, on real footage as well. And this one here, this is a bit of dust. Hang on, let's find that in the.
Yeah, in my time.
Where are you? I'm well in your time. You should have been here earlier.
Second rule of presenting: don't go into the other presenter's time.
All this is bit of dust. That's it. So you can do tons of stuff with Builder. Builder's nice. I like Builder. That is my time.
Hey, I have to say, Ben, those last couple examples, so beautiful. Really, really cool stuff. Another one of my cheesy taglines: if you're watching a show and somebody takes drugs, it's usually Sapphire Effects. I think you're hitting on that with some of these backgrounds. Really cool, trippy, psychedelic effects. Love to see that one you did with the glow and the lines and the infinite zoom is just really cool. I mean, shout out to Gary O for, you know, being the trippy person he is, writing that effect. Just such a beautiful, useful effect.
Yeah. If infinite zoom isn't in John's presentation for the ones you can't miss, then I will be very disappointed. My disappointment.
You will be disappointed.
Straight away.
You will be disappointed. Time to log out now.
Thank you, Ben.
Look at this.
Thank you, Ben.
Here we go. I'm
fantastic.
back. There we go.